And y'all are rolling. All right, you're recording. The video is started.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
Welcome, everybody. My name is John Brice.
My name is John Brice.
Called Rich Not Rich.
So this is Rich Not Rich?
A show called Rich Not Rich.
Now, I don't know what this man is talking about, but we went 1, 2, 3. Rich Not Rich. What's up, everybody? My name is John Brice, as you already know, and this is my show, Rich Not Rich. A part of a few short shows that I'm doing here at JGP Studio and in Philadelphia. My name is John, and even the success of those that are around me, and just more importantly, how God has its own relationships. I get worried that my funeral might not be crowded. Yeah. Now, I do think about, at the afterlife or what'll happen when my mother or my father passes away. I want people to comment on how he could deliver that message with being sensitive. And let's give room for the people that are watching to comment that. As you can see, it brings up a whole bunch, and I'm not just making it exclusive to men, but it's not too often that I'm just sitting here, like I was with, Monica, she's a woman, and so I just want to spend this time talking about fellas to a fella, to a brother. But it's other people that are going to benefit from this. That's what I'm saying. And your truth, well, yeah, I am agreeing with you. Yeah. I'm 100% agreeing with you. Yeah. A lot of stuff you already talked about. Okay. Cultural influence. In what ways do you think your background or culture has influenced your path? And do you feel it has held you back or propelled you? We're from Philadelphia. Has it held you back or propelled you? It has propelled. Oh, that's the answer I have to say? I'm asking you. Oh, so I can't elaborate. Sure. Oh, okay. It's propelled us. Okay. But it's also held us back. Okay. Because there's a level of passion when you can say you stayed 10 toes down and did not move. You didn't move. And let me have my moment. Go ahead. We could have moved to Atlanta and did it. We could have moved to Houston and did it. We could have moved, we could have moved to DC and did it, but it's something different when you're able to say you didn't run from it, when you're able to say you faced it and you still stood tall. It's different. Everybody else can do a company in New York or do a company in Houston. It'll run, it'll do it. Everybody else can pastor in another city. There's no question. But to say that I stood, I didn't run, I accepted it, I took responsibility for it, it has propelled me and it has allowed me, because now I can go anywhere and do it. But I still stand here, I got my head up, got my shoulders back, and I'm able to say, Lord, I'm still here. Let's go, John. Next question. Legacy thoughts. When you think about your legacy, what do you hope people will remember most about you, and do you believe you're on track to achieve it? Oh my gosh. I think we kind of hit all these questions already. Do I think that I'm on track now? As it relates to your legacy? That's hard, because I'm still trying to rebuild your name. Remember when Abraham, Lord, make my name great. Please, God, I fight that every day. Lord, clean up my name. That's all you have is your name. And I still, to this day, have to still walk through rooms, and it is hard because you know they talking about you. You know they talking about you. And you know the people that's talking about you ain't really doing nothing. But it's hard. John, I think this is the first conversation I've had with someone that said that. I never talk about that. Yeah. I never, ever, ever talk about people who hate on me. I never talk about people who are jealous. I never talk about people who talk about me. And I never talk about it. Because for a couple reasons. It's a little, to say it hurts, you know what I mean? To actually admit it hurts. Yeah. And then after a while, you realize I'll be saying this for the rest of my life, because people are always going to be talking about it, or talking about you. But I'm glad you said that. Hearing you say that gives me freedom to be like, you know what, I do want us to talk about that. Not at large, but it happens. I got some haters. I got some jealousy. And the fact that, and I'm not even talking about on this level, it has ingrained itself deep down into the system. Yeah. Somebody came to me, offered me a director's job, all right, at a theater downtown. I won't name the theater because it's too close and everybody knows what I'm talking about. Offered me a director job. Mainly because I do all the things.
Okay.
I do the music, I do the acting, and I do the dance. So instead of hiring 3 different people,
Right.
they're like, you know what?
You know
Let's
what?
just get him. My thing was, okay, but I still want to be paid for all the 3 things that I know how to do, because I still had to learn how to do all of those 3 things, you know. And they were hesitant with it, but they obliged because they really liked what I, do here.
Oh, you're solid, yeah.
One person said one thing about me, changed their name, changed their outlook. And I didn't know this until somebody came to me, like I was out having a drink, and they're like, hey, it was like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to you being a part of our team. And I was like, oh, it's so good. It was like, yeah, but you had a hater in the crowd, and I knew they was gonna say something. I was like, I figured, and I knew that was going on by the circle that was.
Yep.
And he was like, I went to war for you, bro. I tried. And I'm like, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
So I'm not even talking about friend stuff. I'm talking about in the business of, like, I'm sure like how pastors may say stuff about you or churches.
Yeah.
So it's not even like on basic level stuff. I'm talking like that kind of stuff I never talk about, because I don't want to seem like I'm complaining, but it is grieving. I mean, it's worth grieving. All right, John, you got a quick story for me?
I do.
Let's do it.
There was a young lady she went to work every day, and then one day she was fired. And for the next 5 years, she carried that on her weight because she wanted to see the boss and show out and show her that just because you fired me, that I am worth something. So 5 years had passed, and she had lived a lifestyle just to show the success and prove the success. And 5 years later, she finally saw the boss again and jumped out and said, ha, when you fired me, you thought I was going to fall apart, but I've done better than what you thought. And the boss looked at the lady and said, I don't even remember you. I bring that up because another part of that is that it's us that's the problem. And I even said that to myself. So at oftentimes I bought things, even cars and stuff, to try to make up so that if I do see that person again, or if I do see this particular person who really hurt my feelings at that time, that I can show them and say, I did it, or listen, I'm trying to show you. And I have wasted my time trying to show up for someone or show off to someone who don't even remember hurting or don't even remember. And there's people in Philadelphia right now who I'm just hoping, I hope they can see me at a stoplight one day, or I'm hoping they'll walk by me and I was wasting my own time. And I don't want you to think that I'm healed from that 100%, because there's still parts of me that still suffers from that. But I've come to the realization that until I address that in me first, that's what's really been holding me back.
John, you remind me of a couple people that I've worked with. By that I mean like consulting. So we do well in the sense that I'm able to keep the doors open, but like I said, I don't make no money, so I have to do gigs, singing, teaching, choreography, styling, shopping for people. That has picked up a lot, but also consulting for creative projects, businesses, and things like that. One of the things that I see all the time, John, in the beginning of the process with people is that people don't really be prepared. To the point of you saying that you wanted to prove something to somebody. A lot of people that I ask them in the beginning, I say, why did you start your business? Give me your why or your who, okay? Sometimes people start to pay somebody back. Not money, but to prove somebody wrong.
Yeah.
I'm never able to say, okay, they're not going to make it, because they could make it. I'm just saying that's a strange way to start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I gotta say, I typically point that out to them as a red flag and encourage them to find other reasons to start. And I also say, like, proving somebody wrong is not a passion. When you prove them wrong, then what? Just stop the job?
When you prove them wrong, they'll look back and say, I don't even remember.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So this whole notion of doing something to prove somebody wrong, or somebody said, you got to find a better reason.
Yes.
It kind of got to be life or death for you, not him or her, not this or that.
Yeah.
Your reason gotta be like, I can't live without this, you know what I mean? Or I'm on a slow death if I don't do this. Those should be your foundational reasons. Or what's your way you're going to give back into this world, your 80 ways of living, and not think about getting anything returned? What is your answer for that? What can you do for the rest of your life and not be paid for, but you be okay with serving? Yeah. What is that answer? Yeah. And if that is not that answer, you might want to take a few steps back. That's not your passion. You know what I mean? If that's not your passion, you might can stand there for a couple of years, but you're going to always come back to that ceiling to address what your passions are. You know, and so the notion of starting to prove somebody wrong or to be in a position so they can see that you made it. You know, those are all, I'm not saying that's negative, but for the sake of this conversation, that puts us in a negative space. And negative spaces aren't conducive to creativity. They aren't conducive to scaling. And every business needs to scale. And negativity isn't conducive to community. And if you are a business, you need a community, because otherwise, who are you serving? You need to find a problem to fix. Without a community, there's no problems to fix. Speaking of a community, all the things that we're talking about in terms of cleaning ourselves up as men and just remember thinking about, okay, I can't be the same guy I was at 16. I can't function in relationships like I did as I was 21. I messed up and I learned, and because I've had those lessons, I can shape up and make the moves that I need to make today.
When's an example when it's okay to carry that emotion? The emotion of scornfulness, or trying to live out for somebody who really doesn't even remember you, or you trying to prove something to someone. And you said that in business it's not a good time, but when do you think it is ever appropriate for someone to live that out?
I think I may have stopped by saying business. I was just talking about business, but I don't think that's appropriate ever. Granted, I'm saying you can't stop yourself from what feelings show up in your body.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like somebody be like, you forgot. I'm sorry. I can't help that it didn't pop up in my head. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I can't, that's why I pray, you know, just to counteract the things that I cannot help, that I cannot have control over. I can't help the feelings that come, but I think that I could correct my feelings. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of growing up. You know what I mean? As a child, you know, I would say it's okay to be like, because you got to learn, you got to navigate, but you can't be at 35 about every little thing.
It's okay to have that emotion.
It's okay to have that emotion to address. I say it's okay to have every emotion. Remember I started this by saying I aspire to be an emotional man.
Can I just pause for a second?
Yeah.
And there's one particular emotion that Jesus had when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he said, Lord, let this cup. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, his friends who were supposed to keep a watch out, when he came down from praying, I would say something else, but they're here, they were asleep. Mm-hmm. And the emotions and the rage, and the bitterness. Please, Lord, let this cup pass, please. I just want to just throw in the emotion, just as an example.
What did he say?
It's okay, but not my will.
No, I'm saying before he said that, it's like, you know, let this bitterness pass from me. So I'm saying like, bitterness is... It's
an emotion, it's real. And
you know what I mean?
On Monday when he came into Jerusalem after Palm Sunday, he got angry because of the money exchange and that was happening in the church. So I'm just naming these emotions of Jesus as an example. Like,
I hope you're saying it's okay to be emotional.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's okay for him to have these. That's why I was saying there's room for people to feel these emotions. It's just how do you now just control the emotion?
But you know what? Also, there's levels to this, bro. Because if you're good, and you know what I mean, or have the knowledge to, when things show up in you, it's not always addressing what's in front of you. Sure. You know what I mean? So we're talking about somebody who is, you know, starting the church to prove to you that ... Right. Well, they're not bitter. That's exposing some other thing, a lot of other things. It's not your job to really point that out. You might want to be like, why are they doing all this? Right. He hating on me. Yeah. Well, that's because they're hating on you because they don't have a name for what it really is. I aspire to be an emotional man. True. So when I say hate, I at this point I'm slow. Because at 37, if I'm using hate, and I'm not, there's more emotions than that. So if I say to you, I'm gonna prove you wrong, I don't know, but I'm lying.
Right.
I'm lying. I'm afraid. I am hurt. You hurt my feelings. I'm jealous of you, or I'm misusing or misappropriating your inspiration.
I think that would be it. I'm misappropriating your inspiration, and I think you hurt me would probably.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing in Philadelphia.
Now, speaking of Holy Week, this is by nature and by default of who I am. I love the Lord, so I'm gonna be talk. I love to talk about God. But this is the first time in this show, maybe the second time where we actually talk about God so much.
Yeah.
Rich Not Rich. We've been talking about politics and education and art and all kinds of things. But this is a nice segue because I do have another show that I'm producing. And it's called Sold Out. It's a short show, and I would love to have John Brice, come on that show. It's an inspiring show about faith and people's encounters, life-changing encounters with God, and why they decided to be sold out, and what moves God made in their life to put the signature of divine on their life.
Now, how will they find that?
John Brice Productions. So first off, all of these short shows are coming out on YouTube, John Brice Productions, or our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, but they're not going to come out at the same time, all right? So I'm going to say get locked in, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube page, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay tuned to the debuts. Now, this is all going to be virtual, but we do have some events where you can actually come and watch the shows live with some of the interview guests, or with me, like you brought up Holy Week. I'm like, don't go there. We talked about just accountability, but also making sure you start with positivity. Even if you start feeling some kind of way, that somebody's told you no or shut the door in your face, you just want to make sure that you turn that into light and not into darkness. The enemy does things so conniving and so quickly that you can think that you're in a right spirit, but you're in a wrong spirit and not getting the results that you really want. And let me tell you something, and when you're in that realm and in that spirit, you attract things that are like that. And so your job or your idea, your passion is now filled with the spirits that you don't want, or people that you don't want. So you want to make sure that you clear out your space so that you can attract the right tribe, that you can attract the right tribe. And nothing is easy. When I say attract the right tribe, I'm not talking social media. That's a conversation in itself. Social media is not how you attract the tribe. I'm going to save the rest of that information for a class or something like that, or like brand management and all that kind of thing. I'm saying that because if you really want to get some work done, you got to get off your ass. For real. Sorry, Pastor.
No.
You got to get off your behind. I was sitting next to me. You got to get up and do something, meaning address some things and get help and get well and ask for some assistance and learn all the emotions that you can access and work towards forgiving yourself and work towards moving forward and work towards building up those relationships. And most importantly, there is a signature of God on your life that you really want to get to know. So when I say that I'm passionate, I'm just saying that I have identified God's hand on my life. I have identified God's signature on my life. I have identified His signature in all the things that I do. You can be like, you know what? It's kind of like you hear an artist and you notice that that sound different, but that's Kurt Franklin, or that sound different, but that's Luther Vandross. That's their signature. And all the things that I do, I can see God's signature, no matter the difference in the genre, no matter the difference in the type of art, or in the business, or in the work or program that I'm involved in. I can see how God has set me up, number one, and set me up in terms of set up my life in order, in terms of using all the things that I've gone through. I'm talking about like not even personal, but like school and education. Just put me in those positions to add up to something. Now that's that. On the other end, He's also done the same thing personally, kind of like all things working together for . So we talked about mistakes, and the reason you can't stay in the negative space is because you'll never be able to notice how He's actually turned, how that actual scripture is working itself out. So if I'm stuck in shame, actually, here's the funny thing is, you could be stuck in shame and healed, and not realizing that you healed because you still feel ashamed.
Yeah.
you done moved on, you done graduated, but every time that memory come in, you're like, oh, I forgot I'm depressed. Oh, snap, y'all. I gotta stop being happy. I forgot I'm not supposed to be happy. I'm actually heartbroken. Making yourself, honoring how you identify yourself. You know what I mean? Adding respect to your name. Now you should respect your name, but if your name is depression, and if your name is toxicity, or if your name is shame, you gotta change. That is not what God is calling you. That's not the name you should be putting respect to. You got a name. Like my name is John, and ironically his name is John. One of the lessons I teach when I teach art or education in general, I ask people. I say, "What is your name?" And if they go, "John," I said, Stop. You only got your name. And if you can't say your name, I'm not going to believe nothing else you say. The first thing you learn about yourself is your name. And if you're telling me at 40 you are uncomfortable saying your name, you're telling me a lot of other things. You're telling me, 1, you can't be trusted. 2, I can't depend on you. 3, anything that you say is most likely going to be a lie. Now, I'm not saying that you're a liar, but the guts that it takes to say your name is the basic guts it takes to say your name. If you can't handle that, then you can't handle much of anything else. And I'm not coming at anybody. If it's for you, it's for you. If it ain't, you just push it to the side. But what I'm hoping is that I see somebody that resembles me. You know what I mean? Because I come from a place of trying to prove somebody wrong. You know what I mean? Or I may have started something out of being upset. And honestly, in fact, I wrote my first show. I didn't write my first show out of being upset. I went to Freedom Theater. They told me I couldn't do it at my grandma's place, and I did get upset. I was like, why can't I do it there? And I went and I did the play down there. And I ran into some difficulties because I did not do it in the right spirit. Now, I didn't know that, but you know what I mean? Like my grandma, she could have told me. You know what I mean? She could have told me, do it in the right spirit. I'm not saying she was wrong, but I'm just saying, like, instead of saying don't do this or don't do that, we can educate people rather than saying yes or no. At this point, you might want to be like, okay, no, because timing is everything.
That's why we have so many churches in Philadelphia right now.
How many?
We have more churches than Chinese stores in the city.
Don't say that.
No, I'm serious.
Because I'm hungry.
You have more church because of that, not accepting constructive criticism. Because of, instead of you accepting someone's wrongdoing or where you corrected me, I'm out. I'm gonna just go start my own thing. And there's so many churches that are started, and there's so many churches that close because of a result of that too. You want to make sure your spirit is in direct alignment with God, but then also be cautious of the constructive criticism that you're offering, but then also be receptive of the constructive criticism that you're receiving. There's moments even like Elijah when he was battling depression. There was a woman who was on his way to get him after he didn't beat up all these other people. He's now in this cave and God had to come by and bring fire. God had to come, just to remind him, bro, did you not forget who I was? So it's moments when we use those as opportunities, or punctilious moments that happen in our lives, or epiphany type things that happen, that we have to now just be obedient and say, okay, Lord, what are you saying to me in this moment? What am I not hearing? What am I not seeing right now?
Jesus, John.
I said we need more time.
Wow, you brought up Elijah.
I said we need more time.
I ain't even going to go there. But I will speak about you saying how he felt. You know what I mean?
His feelings.
How he said he didn't want to live no more.
No.
And when we talk about the prophets, we just talk about the prophecies. We don't really talk about their life, and we don't really talk about the moments where they don't want to live. And when you're carrying a message or you're carrying a mantle, you would think that people would be like. Because that's how some prophets around here walk, or some leaders, they walk around like that. So it leaves to the imagination that it's, oh, I want to do that. Oh, they look so, you know what I mean? But I think that the ones who are really doing it, they ain't out here looking like that.
Oh, it's a
you know what I mean?
battle,
it's not something you want to shine. It's not something you want to actually
promote.
promote.
Carrying the cross or helping him carry this cross is tough. It's tough,
man. In whatever way you do it, like you're a pastor, you could be doing it as a mother, you could be doing it as a nurse or a doctor, or whatever capacity you are meant to serve. Like me, as owning a store or arts and service, the enemy is going to attack where you are, especially if you are doing it for the kingdom. Now, clothes and kingdom, you may not see the connection. I don't even see the connection, but I know God got me here for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A song, kingdom, you may not see the connection, but I know God has me doing it for a reason. Teaching, kingdom, you may not see the connection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't need to know all about how all things are connected. You just got to make sure that you are doing what you need to do in the right spirit. When we are in the right spirit, we align ourselves with the ultimate spirit. You know what I mean? And open ourselves up to being vulnerable. God dog on it. I got us talk about vulnerability just for a second because that was the point of me saying I aspire to be an emotional man. It was because I was not being vulnerable, and that was holding me back in every area of my life at that time, financially, believe it or not, financially. And I realized I need to break down. I thought the walls were broken down because I'm an artist, but then I realized if I'm not on the stage, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So then I began to translate that at 35, 33. I'm like, you know what? Just everything you learned there's levels to this. Continue to pour it out into your own life. And that's when I'm like, you know what? I aspire to be an emotional man. And that means that, I'm not a crier. I cry in praise and worship. But, I have noticed that my eyes will get watery. And I don't stop it. I don't stop it. I don't stop it now. And I'm not talking about praise and worship. You can forget it. I'm going all in praise and worship. I'm talking about when life hits hard, or when I have a memory, or even I was thinking about somebody that's no longer here. Normally, I don't allow myself to go too deep because I'm moving. But this day, I allowed myself, and a tear came down. I was like, oh, wow. Like, why did I not allow myself to feel this when they passed away? And I'm like, I got to go to work. So I got myself together. And now I'm still not fully purging because I gotta keep going. So I'm just being honest with you and saying, like, this emotional piece, I'm saying it is beneficial for me, but I think it'll be beneficial for everybody. Now, I'm not saying you're out here, people are like, you're too emotional. I'm not saying like that. Like I said, the women have it to a science. It's a gift to them. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I always feel like women are being emotional. I feel what I'm talking about, smart, intellect.
So maybe we shouldn't say emotional.
I think we should say emotional.
For women. And we shouldn't talk about it without...
Oh, you know what? Say that again.
I don't think we should say emotional.
Why?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm so why?
We shouldn't. No. No. Number one, there needs to be a woman here to speak on that.
Okay.
And we're not practicing bigotry saying all women. I just think that...
Okay, so I want to say, 100, he's right, but I want to say that you are helping me put my point out there, because why not call women emotional? Are you saying because emotional has a negative...
You just said intellectual or smart, it might not be emotional. You said...
No. You misunderstood. I'm not saying you misunderstood. I misspoke. I'm saying it is emotional, and how I see emotional is smarts and intellect.
Okay.
Not, you too emotional, not like childish or...
So you label smart as an emotion?
No, I don't label smart as an emotion. I say that someone who is capable of using their emotions well is more than smart. I say genius.
Okay. Someone who's able to use
navigate.
Okay.
And use those tools.
Or
identify.
What about someone who's able to manipulate those emotions?
Sure. Same thing. Navigate, manipulate. And I would say manipulate sometimes comes with a negative connotation, but I'm not talking about negatively. I'm talking about, on the job, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? You make those choices that you need to make, to get what you need to get done. When I say emotions, I am changing my outlook. Okay. And I'm not putting that out there for the universe or everybody. I'm just saying this was a mandate for me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was something that I needed to do to identify, like to stop being something I'm not. Mainly just morphing into people, walking in the rooms, and if I don't feel comfortable, I'm gonna be who you are. No.
When did you realize that?
About 30. When I said emotional, I am using it as a thank you, Holy Spirit, superpower.
Okay.
Superpower, not kryptonite.
And I think for me, because of my experience, and I have to take responsibility for my actions. But I have also seen how emotions from the other side can be used, and that's why I said manipulate, because I have seen that, and that has played a pivotal role, and to some areas that have made it harder for me to push through. But before I can talk about anybody else, I have to accept responsibility for my own actions first.
And it's hard to say manipulate because I'm just talking about identifying my emotions. I'm not saying using my emotions to ... I'm saying this stuff is happening inside of me, not outside. At most, you might see it on my body, but I'm not touching you. I'm not grabbing you. I'm not transferring energy to you. It's very personal. So I'm not manipulating, or it's hard to manipulate because that's taking what's happening right now, right here, and adding it, making it a verb, adding action to it. That's not my process. Yeah. My process is to understand what's happening in my mind and understand what's happening in my heart. Why my nerves going nuts? Why my blood pressure's high? Why I can't breathe? And I need those answers. The moment I take it off of me and put it on you, I can't get to those answers. So there is no, when you say manipulate, I don't automatically think. I know you're talking in a negative way because that is a negative how you do it. But I'm just saying identify the emotions, not be a perpetrator and use the emotions to bring harm or get what you want, or you know what I mean?
You think you should bring on like a psychologist that you may know?
I would love to bring on a psychologist.
This is your pitch,
You know what I mean? I would not just a psychologist, all kinds of things. I'm gonna do it next season.
Emotions.
Yes.
Emotions for the black community. Emotions for the black church.
You know what I'm most interested in? Emotions for the black man. First, because I'm a black man. Now, granted, I ain't got no church, so that ain't gonna really hit me hard. You do. You know what I mean? So I can see why you said emotion for the black church or emotion for the black, but I know that for me, why I have to step back is because I am going to be a cancer and a poison to everybody I come in contact with that hears me. If I'm not whole.
And that's what the break is going to be.
And that's what my emotions have taught me. You know what I mean? So if I feel this emotion, I don't need to talk. Shh, John, when you feel this, if you talk, daggers.
When did you learn that?
It's a constant lesson. It's a constant lesson. But I came to a head maybe 4 years ago.
To be able to say to yourself, let me stop talking right now.
It was a hard lesson because my job is to talk. As a director, my job is to talk. And this is going to be interesting because my community, Philadelphia here, in general, JGP, or just the artists at large, if they don't have anything to compare it to, they think that they know what it really is. And so even in my directing, I would be just doing directing and people couldn't handle it. Now I'm just talking about giving natural feedback or criticism. And so that's how I learned. And that's how I learned. I'm like, dang, not even where I'm supposed to be saying what I need to say. So I had to figure out I either had to move to where people got it or change myself to serve the people around me. So I had to change myself to serve the people around me until it was time for me to go. And the sad part is, when it's time for me to go, I have to leave those people behind because they weren't willing to let me direct.
It's a lot of gems you're pouring.
So it's like you can't take it. And people don't know, but the hardest part of leaving is leaving people behind for me. It feels like an abomination.
So that's a Moses story.
Doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying that's
and you know what? Telling you this, John, and you saying that's why you gotta talk. So even though I said I don't care or whatever, I'm listening, But could you imagine if I'm not saying this to you, I'm stuck with these thoughts on my own 24/7. So a lot of people are stuck with similar stuff 24/7 out here shucking and jiving, but are not expressing themselves, not identifying the emotions, not using the tools that are at their disposal, and instead just owning the feelings without naming the feelings. And when listen, you can't keep stuff in. So they're going to come out.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come out. You know what I mean? So they're going to come out, and how you use them, you want to use them, how you don't, you don't. All right, John, is there anything you want to say?
You're saying it like as if we were just gibberish.
Because you keep saying you got to go get the 7 last words.
That's tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Oh yeah. There's a Jewish word that's out there. So it started with someone from Philadelphia talked about, and just because you're a black business doesn't mean that I'm just always going to support you because your business is still, it might be garbage and I'm not going to support it. You got to bring it and come correct. I hear you. But for me, I'm black.
I don't hear you, but
I'm black.
I'm gonna let you go. Continue.
Okay.
I don't like that statement.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to support you just because you're black. There's no question. So that's where the guy came into the room and entered in the Jewish tradition. Even if you don't do it well, and even if I can go outside of my community and get it cheaper and get it better, because you're in my community, I'm going to get it from you. And when you get it wrong, I'm going to pull you aside. We're going to meet with you. I'm still going to talk with you, and I'm going to make you correct it, and I'm going to still keep supporting you.
Classic. That's classic.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Man.
I'm supposed to, even when I can get it cheaper, even when you mess up, I come to you, we all meet in the community, yo, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to correct. This is what you need to do to get it right. And I'm still going to keep spending my dollars here. We don't have that, and I don't want to say we don't, I'm just saying that because a lot of us do. I'm black, so I'm going to spend my dollars black because I know when I spend my dollars here, you're going to keep your dollars in the community and then support a charity that's black in the community. So I emphasize that, but I just really appreciated that perspective because it emphasized what we need to do more of. Because so even if your bathroom is dirty, I can't be mad at you because I know of the economic opportunities.
Exactly.
And then you're applying for those grants or you're applying for that loan, but they're not giving it to you because of, or there may have been other outside factors that helped scale your business and helped you, affected you becoming capital ready. Mm-hmm. So I think that if we bring those factors into the conversation, it's not just, I'm not supporting this black business. There's other factors that play a role for why they're struggling or in that position right now. And so that means that adds more fuel to why I want to be intentional with supporting them. Okay, John, that's it. Anything else?
No, I think we said a lot in terms, especially
but we just talked about could be another.
It was so random
It was a lot.
Transparent and honest. Thank you, Mr. Brice, Pastor Dr. Brice, for spending an hour and a half with me. I would love to have you back. And we said a lot of things today, whether it was about just overcoming mistakes and moving forward. He used the word haunt, and I want to just put that word out there again for those who feel haunted. And I remember thinking we think about haunts as ghosts and things like that, but haunts could be thoughts and reminders or bad memories or pressure of things that you got to do, that you got to get done. It's just like, I gotta just keep haunting you, you know what I mean? And you can't, I just want to pray for rest for you, rest in your mind. Amen. At least long enough for you to hear from God, at least long enough for you to come up with an idea to make it to the next day. You know what I mean? And I want to press back into, there's no condemnation for those who walk with the Lord, for those who are after the Spirit and not after the flesh. Generally speaking, there's no condemnation. So if you start feeling some kind of way about yourself, you want to identify where that's coming from. And if you're saying it's coming from God, I would say change your filter. Change your filter. God is always speaking, but I doubt he's getting rid of. He's putting you down. He's not. He's never putting you down. Never. Jesus died, hung high. Why would you be put down? It don't make no sense. I don't care. Actually, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what your thoughts are saying. I don't care what you may have read. I don't care. You got to clean yourself up and start understanding the promises of the Lord. And I want you to start seeing yourself from God's eyes. And by God, I mean Abba, like a good father, like Nationwide is on your side. Like a good dad is always on your side. Like see him in that way. And if that's tricky, see yourself like what's you as a good parent. You know what I mean? If your child do wrong in your best mind, your best self, you know what I mean? If they come to you and they ask you for something, or if they mess up or if they locked up in jail and they call you to come pick them up, you in your best self, in your right spirit, like in your, how do you feel about that? You know, how you feel about your kid? And then you say, okay, if I feel that way about my kid, certainly this is a reflection of how God feels about me. You know what I mean? The ultimate love. We talked about emotions, identifying emotions. As men, I said I aspire to be an emotional man. That's not the first time you heard me say that, and it won't be the last. And we talked about navigating them and manipulating them. But we also talked about our personal stories, you know, and I guess we should call them testimonies and things that we have gone through in our personal relationships and our jobs and our lives and as business owners and entrepreneurs. So we said a whole bunch. Thank you, John. I'm going to let you close out with something inspirational. I had some more questions, but you answered all the questions I needed to answer, all right? Anything you want to leave with our listeners?
I would want to say that Egypt, because I was going to say Rome, but Egypt was not built in a day. And it takes time to allow God to heal and allow God to work and to develop you. The John Brice that you see right now is not the John Brice that I was 2 years ago or that I was 10 years ago, the success that I have now. And if somebody told me where I am right now when I was in those dark moments, if I saw this, could I see myself where I am, I could tell you that I would be telling you that you're lying. There were moments that I was in a dark space. And so I would ask that you forgive yourself, that you're still sensitive to where you walk. I'm not saying that what you did, you didn't do. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just asking for you to be patient and more kind to yourself. Because the benefit of what we see in the Bible in our hands is that we can see the whole story of Job. So a lot of times we get caught up in the first 5 chapters, or we'll forget, and then we get caught up in Job being backstabbed by his family, or, you know, his friends turning their back and his wife even turning his back. But we know the end story of Job and how he was blessed double for his trouble. So my inspirational moment is just be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, stay true to who you are. Don't run. And this is no shame to nobody, because I ran through Atlanta. I ran Atlanta when I was down there. There's no question. I intentionally came back to Philadelphia for school, for my grandma. I got it. And it's easier at those other places. I know it is. I know you can do it. They would love you down there. It would blow up down there. But there's something that the Lord is building in you, the character of you being committed and even still being in Philadelphia. And because there's something that God is using and growing in you. That yes, it's easier anywhere else, but I want to ask you to stay true to who you are.
All right, so we get ready to close out this show. This has been so much fun, brother, and actually
the time went by so fast.
So fast, and there's so much still I want to talk about. You know, we're gonna close this with Rich Not Rich. Rich Not Rich. All right. 1, 2, 3. Rich Not Rich. All right.
I thought it was Rich Not Richer.
No, Rich Not Rich.
All right, I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. All right, come into the clear. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Rich Not Rich.